What's going on, After Buzzers? Thanks for joining us tonight. It is your after show for the Challenge Final Reckoning, episode 16, The Leftovers. It is the saucy slip episode. Get it? Fettucini alfredo sauce. Okay, sorry for the dad joke number 1. Natalie is now selling her autographed Band-Aid on Poshmark, and Hunter and Ashley are spelling bee champs. We're getting into everything from tonight's episode, so stay with us.
You're tuned in to Afterbuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome. Hi, everyone. Afterbuzz TV here. Yes.
It is Dan and I tonight.
It is us. It is us.
We are back tonight. We are missing 2 of our panelists. It's just, I'm your host, Jenna Bussiere, and Dan Lindgren is in the building with me.
I'm here as well. There's a lot to unpack on this episode tonight. I've always liked Devin, and I like him even more after tonight's episode.
Yeah.
I'm still going to root for him, even though he's not in the game. Is that weird?
I know. Well, you can root for him in his outside life. It's not weird to root for him in the best way. I am as well. As Dan said, we're definitely going to get into the Bananas and Devin situation. A lot of heavy stuff this episode, which doesn't happen. Well, we have a lot of drama on the challenge, but stuff like this where it gets really just emotionally taxing and awkward to watch doesn't happen a lot. So we're going to try to dive into that, as well as obviously talking about the trivia challenge, because I love me a good trivia challenge. I think it's one of a fan favorite from every season. And we'll also talk about, of course, Devin and Cory's departure from the game, which we have several thoughts on.
Definitely.
So as you notice, Pam, David, and Justin are out. Everybody decided to skip town tonight, but Dan and I are here for you.
But don't worry, they will be back. They're coming back next week.
They will be back. And then also, towards the end of the show, we'll try to get into some news and gossip and some segments for y'all if we have time. But we have so much to unpack, so let's just dive right into it.
Yes.
The episode 16, The Leftovers. Let's pick up at the beginning of the episode, and then we'll just take it from there, because we do want to touch on Armageddon as much as just a little bit, because there was some stuff in there. I think there's a little bit of stuff to unpack. So we open where we left off with Nelson confronting Brad, and Nelson shed light on this on our episode last week. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go back and listen. And I loved what he was saying from a perspective of wanting to defend his girl in the house. And what Nelson is hearing is Kaylee coming over to him saying, I'm disrespected. Brad was yelling at me. He spoke to me in a foul way. And he also said some bad things about you. So I appreciate that Nelson is saying, well, he's not going to talk bad to you, Kaylee. He's not going to come at you foul. Because I feel like that's just a good, sweet move of a guy to do. I think my boyfriend would do that for me.
Sure.
However, there is the point that I don't know if Brad is really deserving of getting any confrontation for what he said to Kaylee, because I think Brad was just defending Kyle.
Right, and we had touched on that in last week's episode. I mean, I don't like some of the things that Brad said to Kaylee were a little like over the line. Well, he said something about licking something in the episode. I didn't like how he said that to a woman, but no, I'm always a fan of Brad, so I don't think it was. Everyone fights, guys versus girls. Girls. They're just arguing. They're all trying to state their case. I think it was a little overblown. What kind of threw me off was on the bus ride when Brad's on the bus with Kyle and Cam is making fun of them for losing, but she also lost. And I understand they lost to someone they shouldn't have lost to, but Killa Cam, who wins all the time, she lost again. She's not Killa Cam anymore. She's like half dead Cam. She's not killing people anymore. There you go. Oh, everyone's going to get mad at me.
She's not a killer anymore. Now she's just like...
The producers love Cam. They want her. I know. The producers want Cam to succeed every time on the show, and she keeps losing, and they're like, oh my God, she's supposed to be our new girl, though. Our new next somebody.
Our new Cara, but
not performing.
She can't be the new Cara on a competitive level when she loses to Cara. But this opened my eyes a little bit to Cam in a favor of liking her, because I do like her humility here. I like that she's saying, like, yeah, I lost, and she's not trying to act overly cocky. Like, a lot of people say that she is cocky and overly confident throughout the season, which at times the Killa Cam persona gets to be a little bit too much. But I like that she shows you both sides. Like, being cocky is kind of playing up a character and saying, I've done all these things, so let me kind of, like, I've put my money where my mouth is. I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk. So I like that we get to see this other side of her where she is taking a step back and saying, But at the same time,
I just want to be
lost
humble.
to the best in the game. At the same time, I have fault and I can lose, and thank God it was to Cara, not to Natalie and Paulie like you two.
Isn't that a nice crutch that she can rely on, though? That she, I lost to Cara, though, and she's so great, so it's,
But it's not a crutch if it's true. That's what happened. She didn't lose to Devon and Jose.
All right.
So, I mean, if you're going to lose to the best, then you can say at least I lost to the best.
Okay, well, there it is.
So I did like seeing Cam's humility. So
you know what I didn't like seeing? That first interview with Natalie when it looked like she was like a baby eating food and just got spaghetti all over her face, when it was actuality, it was a gnarly scar. She's got to keep a Band-Aid on that.
That looks so rough. That is so...
Put some bacitracin on that, and no, she needs to cover that up. And she is, you know what? Actually, don't cover up. You're gorgeous either way, Natalie. Show off that scar.
She is beautiful. She could rock like a staph. She could rock a staph infection looking cut. Whatever it is that's happening there, that shit looked, that was a disease growing on her face, and I felt really bad for her. And she still looked beautiful, but how mean of the producers to not even allow like any coverage. There's no makeup on that. There's
sometimes
no
she had a Band-Aid on and sometimes
Yeah.
she didn't. I just think she was like, screw it. But she went in there just with literally no makeup. She was like, I'm put lipstick on and I'm just going to show off the scar. So we were just talking about Armageddon. And speaking of Armageddon, I'm getting antsy for some more AfterBuzz shows. Where do I find those, Jenna? Let me know.
Dan, well, I have the answer for you and for all you AfterBuzzers. What's up? Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is no network, none, that works harder to serve television fans. But we do need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow, which is important for the both of us. So if you're worried about pesky notifications, which we know Dan is frightened of.
All the time.
Biggest fear. He
Keeps
can't
me
sleep
up at night. Right, we got it.
Look at that. Don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. And let us know you did that in our comments and we can thank you on air. So for now, thank you for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of Talk TV and ESPN of MTV, because everybody knows that the challenge is the 5th leading sport in the USA.
There it is.
Here we're basically ESPN people.
There we go.
Yes.
Are you ready to get into the big moment of tonight?
I'm really ready to get into the big moment of tonight, but I do want to just clarify the Natalie Band-Aid thing really quickly.
Good.
Quickly, if you ever go on her Instagram, Twitter, social media, she's always selling stuff. She's always selling her autograph things, like her clothing.
She's selling her Band-Aid for real?
No, she's not really. She's not really. So if that missed the mark in the beginning, the joke, and people are like, what the hell is Jenna talking about? Is she really selling this Band-Aid? It's just a little fun at Natalie because she sells things online, so I feel like maybe she can make a buck or two off of this staph-infected Band-Aid, and maybe somebody would make a nice shrine out of it. And let's get into, I hate to even really joke about this, but we try to be lighter on our show with the saucy slip episode.
Yeah.
So we've obviously been seeing teasers for a few weeks now that Tony goes down.
Yep.
We were going back and forth between was it Cory, was it Nelson, and everything's exposed tonight. Let's take it from the top. They go out, they go to a dinner, they're getting nice food. It's not just a party night on the club.
Cory orders fettuccine alfredo for apparently $1 million.
He sure does.
He sure does.
So they get in the bus, and it's a he said, she said from this point on.
Well, this is weird, though. Tony throws the food out the window. He sat on his food first by accident and then said, what is this? And threw it out. Is that what we're under? Are we under the same understanding of that?
Yes. So
but did he sit next to Cory?
Neither of us know.
You know what I mean? They don't explain any of that. And that's why I would love to have someone from the challenge actually here to be like, no, this is what really happened. Because the producers show us nothing here. It's all hearsay. It's all, we're in front of our green screen and we're going to tell you. It's all like a court case, right? Prosecution first versus the defense. And we're just the jury sitting there like, I wasn't there, though. I'm just going to make my own assumptions. And then the drama ensues.
That's exactly what's happening, which is what I'm saying. It's a he said, he said.
Yeah.
And so we start off by saying Tony or somebody sat on Cory's Cory's pasta. So Tony was like, I'm just gonna throw it out the window because who's gonna eat sad on pasta?
And first of all, what's this? What's Tony littering? Like, what are you 5? Like, why would we just throw it in the trash? I don't get it. If he knew it was Cory's pasta, he's doing it to get a rise out of him.
That's exactly
what
my
I mean?
thought too. So you're right though with the whole throwing out the window thing. I'm shocked that the producers even allow the windows on that bus to be open with all these drunk people. How has nobody tried to jump out of this window?
Because they
before?
get hot on the bus. They need air. They need the air. They need the air. I don't know.
Or in case somebody throws up, it's a lawsuit. It saves production some cost
Easier to
of
clean the
cleaning
outside of the bus than the inside.
Exactly.
There you go.
But exactly what you're saying, Dan, I completely agree that we're being really light about the subject of it being pasta. This is going to sound so Jersey of me, but it's like, it's more than the pasta here. But it's more than the pasta because if you already hate Tony and you already have this bad blood, and I think that everybody in the situation is way more drunk than it's being shown. We usually can tell when everybody's drunk because we see them ripping shots at the bar and pounding beers. I think Tony and Cory are very drunk at this point. I really do, because it looks like Tony can't even walk straight. He's slurring his words.
Here's the thing, though.
So I think it's if you're Cory and you hate Tony, and then he sits on your pasta and he's laughing at you and he throws it out the window, yeah, you're gonna hate him even more, especially when you're a hothead and especially when you're drunk.
Right, but with all that said, though, it's $1 million. So let the guy throw your whole lunchbox with the sweet, Ninja Turtles thermos out there too, because I don't care. It's $1 million. Devin purposely, and Devin is the best, walks him away from the situation right off the bus, and he's like, hey, we're doing this for your daughter and my dad, and we're not going to do this right now. Now, so they're good, it looks like, and then it looks like Tony is actually going over to Cory to apologize when he puts his arm around him, like, hey, man, let's talk this out. And then Cory, obviously, we can say slip or no slip. It's no slip, as far as I'm concerned. But Devin tries to get him away from the situation. But Tony does come back in to, I don't know if he is trying to amplify the situation, but to me, it looked like Tony was trying to almost like apologize for the pasta mishap. I don't know. Or what do you think about that? Do you think that Tony was trying to apologize there, or was he trying to instigate more?
I like where you're going with that, because that was the exact thought I had, is that he's not being apologetic. He comes over, and I think he's being like a slime ball instigator.
Okay, so you think he's being a slime ball. I thought he was just somebody saying, hey, man, look, this is what... But he's also drunk, so the way he's saying things might not be coming off in a sober, nice way. They're almost like a taunting way.
If a drunk person ever thinks that somebody they were just drunkenly fighting with is going to take to them going back over to them
right away like that.
That never works. You need separation.
Right.
That's like when a drunk couple, a relationship, a girlfriend and boyfriend are having a drunk fight, and their friends are like, let's go into separate rooms, talk about it in the morning when you're sober. And they're like, no, I just need to tell her this one more thing. And then guess what? It's World War II again.
Right.
I think that's what's happening here, is Tony is coming over like... And you can hear Tony when he goes over to Cory. He says something like, yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Well, we'll see what he's going to do. And you can hear him say these instigating words. Then he makes the contact. It's not a push. It's not a punch. But he makes the initial body-to-body contact.
Yeah, and you were saying, like,
I think
Cory was just trying to, like, he didn't want somebody on him at that moment. But then he clearly put his leg underneath Tony's, back of his calf.
No, it was so stupid, and I know what you're saying. It's $1 million out the line, and that's always going to be the overlying thing here, is how could you do that with that sort of money? But people have faults, and especially... Cory is known to kind of forget about the game and the money. I mean, he'll lay his cards out on the line. He might not have the best strategy when it comes to the challenge ever. So I think I do understand, in a sense, like when you're pissed at somebody and you're drunk and tensions and emotions are high, and then that person you're mad at comes and makes that contact with you and puts your arm around your neck, and you're just like, get the heck off me.
All right, and I don't want to jump ahead too much, but from the angle that Devin's at, he can't see how Tony is falling, or how Cory is moving Tony.
Right.
So he honestly, I thought he was just like denying the situation, trying to make it not as bad. But Devin really just couldn't see from that angle what really happened. Then we see later on, which we'll get into when he watches the video. But I don't want to bring that up yet, because I want to get into that after. I think we should get into Bananas and Devin talking, and Devin going after Bananas a little bit with his words, and then what happens from there.
So what you said about Devin before was so spot on, and I'm shocked that Cory still did what he did after Devin comes over and clarifies, like, remember, this is your daughter, and also this is my dad. So not only does Cory have a responsibility to his family and making money for his new daughter, but he has a responsibility to Devin, whose father just passed away.
And Cory's BSing Devin this whole time, saying, I didn't do anything. Cory, you put your leg underneath his calf. against you. You know you did, and you're lying to Devin, trying to make it not a big deal. You think that the TV can't see what happened. They got cameras from all angles watching you guys. You're not going to get away with this. You know there's no violence. He's like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. I just hope that they put them in separate hotel rooms. They say they send them to hotels. What? Do they do different hotels? They must, right?
Either, I don't know how many hotels there are that they have access to in South Africa. It might just be the one hotel for production, so that we don't know.
There's different floors at least.
A Motel 6 and a Motel 8. What do we got here?
Is there Motel 7? I don't know, but put them away from each other.
But yeah, I just feel so bad for Devin in this situation because he tried to make it right. He tried to not only say, hey, Cory, think about my dad and the fact that I came back here after my dad just passed away to win $1 million in his honor, and because I'm not a quitter, and because I need to keep busy, and I need to move on with my life even though he passed away. Like, everything is, what Devin is doing is right. And Cory, not only does he say that, he also says, Cory, you have a child, and still doesn't register in his mind not to do it. Anyway, things happen, drunken moments. That's what I think it was, more drunk than we saw.
Yeah.
And that
everyone's saying that Bananas amplifying the situation, which he does a little.
Let's go into that then. Okay. Does Bananas truly amplify it in the beginning?
Agree. So this is weird. At first, I'm almost on. I don't want to say I'm on Bananas' side. Not at first when he's a little amplifying, but he is trying to stay away, and he is talking trash with other people that he's in an alliance with at this point. And then Nelson hears, and Nelson comes in, and he doesn't like that too much. But then Nelson's like, Devin, everyone that's on my team, get down here for the big football fight, he's like, it's like two baseball players. The benches are clearing, So in a way, I know Bananas is talking smack, but he's just trying to say his side of the story at that point. So I'm okay with all of that.
I'm okay with that too,
and
because
he's
in a room with his friends. He is with his only 3 friends in the game.
And even if cameras aren't on, and you and I, their fights we would talk to each other about the drama too. So he's just doing what everybody does. So for someone to get on Bananas for that, they shouldn't. Everyone talks.
I completely agree.
To their friends about what they're feeling.
He's in his comfort. He's in confidence with his friends, with his alliance. The lights are off.
Nelson's spying from outside the door.
Right. So that's what I wanted to bring up too. Lights are off. He's in confidence with his friends. He doesn't even realize the cameras are on at all times, but Bananas at this point isn't doing it for the cameras.
The lights were off, which was interesting. Yeah.
And you said Nelson hears. Nelson doesn't hear. Nelson is waiting for
you're right. He's literally waiting outside, just listening.
Isn't just like walking by to the bathroom or making food in the kitchen and happens to hear like, oh no, someone said something I didn't like. He was waiting outside like, all right, where's my entry? Where's Bananas going to say something slightly topical that I can just storm in here? He hears one tiny thing about the fight, which is normal to talk about, and Nelson comes storming in, guns blazing, like, everybody get in here, let's talk about it. And then Devin gets brought into the situation. So I agree with you at first. I don't think this is Bananas' fault.
Right.
And I understand at the beginning of this fight where Bananas can even be getting annoyed with Devin. I love Devin. And
me too.
I love that Devin is prying into the Bananas and that Johnny is not Johnny Bananas anymore. I love when he turns into Johnny Tomatoes.
Yeah, that was all great. And the thing is that even, Johnny says that all's fair in love and challenges and stuff like that. And that's what Devin's doing. He's just trying to get him riled up. And it's like on the line. It's on the line because he literally follows him around the house. It follows around. And Bananas, to his, whatever, is trying to get away from it. All right? He's trying to get away from it. He's like, I don't want to talk. But also, I don't think Bananas has any good comebacks at this point. He's like, I haven't prepped on this. I haven't had my sister write me any sweet notes this week. So he's not ready for all of this.
And I get where Bananas is coming from at the beginning of the fight. Yes. Again, I'm going to clarify at the beginning of the fight because he obviously makes a wild turn and gets way too inconsiderate, insensitive, and hits Devin with too many low blows that we'll get to. But in the beginning of the fight, I do understand Bananas' annoyance, and I'm on his side in the beginning. But this is Devin. Devin's just doing what Devin does. No matter what,
he's a good talker, man.
He's a good talker. He's going to follow it around. We love that relationship between the two. But when Bananas was with us last year, he came on our Vendettas after show, and we were just kind of talking. I get where he's saying where he just has to walk away because he doesn't want to give this storyline more energy.
Right, and he says it on the episode that, hey, I'm making you guys what you are, and I have to admit he kind of is, because he's so popular, good or bad, on the show. Bananas is that no matter if someone interacts with him, it's most likely going to make the show, especially if they're not getting along. So Devin knows that. But also, I feel like Devin brings some fresh air to the challenge of not being scared of Bananas, like so many people are. Challengers are on the show.
I agree. I get what Bananas is doing here, just being like, I need to walk away because I'm not giving this any more screen time. I'm not giving it any more attention because he feels like he just it's not in his favor to communicate with Devin. Although it might look like he's being scared or he's running away from it, Bananas is seeing it as I just don't want him to give the attention that he's looking for. But when it gets to that point, so Bananas, if you're trying to follow this the entire time, I get that your buttons are being pushed to the limit, but then that's no excuse.
Right. You can say whatever you want to Devin.
There's no excuse to bring up what he just went through.
Say the one thing. You can say whatever you want to him, except for probably one thing. Actually, definitely one thing. You can't bring the kid's dad up into this. He just lost him, what? A month, 2 months prior. I mean, they were probably about 2 months. And you have the gall to say, hey, man, you shouldn't even be here right now. You should be home mourning your dad's loss.
No.
You think that Devin's dad would want him just at home doing nothing with his life? He's getting out and he's making something of his life. And he would want Devin to move on and do something. So the way that Bananas brings that up is like, no, Bananas. And then here's what gets me, though, with Bananas. Bananas apologizes to the camera. If you're going to apologize to Devin, do it to his face. And yeah, maybe he did it after the show, after all this. I don't know. It means nothing to do it to the camera so Devin can watch it 4, 5, 6 months later when this thing airs on TV. So tonight, Devin finally tonight got his apology from Bananas because he said it to a green screen camera.
Not only does he bring up Devin's dad who just passed away, exactly what you said, the things that he says exactly are just so low blow.
Oh, the fall far from the, I hope it falls far from the tree.
He says, what are you doing here? And exactly like you said, what am I doing here? I'm here to honor my father and win $1 million.
How about keep my mind busy instead of going crazy at home just thinking about the awful thing that happened to me and my entire family?
And now you have more of an incentive. Why do you think athletes go back to a game a week after one of their family members dies? Because they're playing in their honor. That's exactly what Devin is doing here. He's pursuing something that made his dad proud of him. So why stop now?
And let me say this. People are bringing up in the live chat that they think Devin's crying was fake or forced or whatever like that. I'm sorry, but people cry in all kinds of different ways, and they show their emotions in different type of ways. What I saw tonight was a natural feeling from someone who lost someone close to them. I lost my grandfather not even a year ago, and I would randomly start crying, and it would come out in all kinds of different ways. And for someone to call Devin out like that because his father passed away and say it was fake, you can't. That's the line for me, man. Like, what are you doing?
If I'm Devin, he keeps his temperament so under control here. It's crazy.
He's trying to get words out, and then it hits him that his dad's not around, and he just freezes. And people are going to call him out and say that's not real.
Yeah,
I can't do it. And you got really caught up.
I got really upset.
You slowed down. Yeah. You paused the show, or at least slowed it down in the commercials. Like you felt weird. What you said it to me.
I felt really anxious.
Yeah, anxious
really
was the word you
used.
Yeah, it was.
It's really hard. Yeah. Well, because we see Devin go in the morning and he's like, you're not going to get away with what you said to me last night. And like you're saying, everybody grieves in different ways. And he starts to try to talk to Bananas and just completely shuts down and is shaking and needs to go outside and be by himself. Because I don't know how Bananas does not just suck up his pride and apologize.
Right there and say, look, I crossed a line. I'm so sorry. He even said, I'm super close with my dad.
Yeah.
If you can't be relatable that you're super close, if say Bananas has a dad that's alive, but it's an estranged father, but he knows he's alive somewhere, maybe that's one thing. But you said you're close with your dad and you can't, just give it up and say, look, Devin, I'm sorry, man. That is my bad.
I know.
That's where I'm like,
how do you not feel so gross about yourself? I know you dislike him, or you could even use the word hate on so many levels. But how do you not just feel what the guy's feeling and apologize? This wound is so fresh.
So fresh.
Why would you do that? And I was going to say something and I forget because this is getting so crazy. And the lack of eye contact too. Like Bananas can't even make eye contact with him. It's like kind of disgusting.
Yeah. So Cory and then when Cory and Devin are walking out of the house, you have Natalie there with Bananas, and they're both given like a weird. Like, goodbye.
Well,
like, so sorry to see you go. I'm sorry. Am I skipping ahead? I'm just
okay.
Because that's my other point about Bananas is like, was that necessary too? Like, what are you doing, man? You need more FaceTime, and that's how you want your FaceTime to be with. That's not a good look, man.
So then let's go into the TJ meeting. So we see Cory and Tony come back at separate times, and so far everybody's still up in the air. Nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And then TJ comes in, and at this point, like, we know that they're going home. Did you think that they wouldn't at this point?
I knew they were going home. I mean, and you brought up. I can't wait to hear your point on this because I think it's somewhat interesting.
Well, I think it's a very obvious point, and I can't see the live chat right now, but I'm sure a lot of you guys are making the same points that it is so unfair on so many levels for Devin to be sent home at this point because he's partners with Cory. It's Cory's fault. Not only is it Cory's fault, every other person in this game who had something like this happen to them got to stay. Cam got to stay when her partner, Melissa, went off on Kayla.
So Melissa and Kayla fight. Cam and Kaylee
get to stay.
Should have both gone home in theory because of that fight.
If Devin gets,
I agree. Producers are like, wait, this is the first week of the show, and Cam's our new it girl. We can't let her go home. Bam, they make the sacrifice there. They should have both been gone. All four of them should have been gone because that is the rule of the game, right? And then you also made the point that, well, Devin had to go home. This is not against fighting, though, so I don't know if I 100% agree here. Devin's father passed away, and he was originally Bananas' partner. So in theory, shouldn't have Bananas have had to go home? But they can't send Bananas home because he's their it boy. They just get him someone else.
That's the thing. It's anybody who was in any sort of similar situation
it's interesting.
Got the benefit of the doubt.
It's an interesting debate to have.
Beat the system, and it sucks for Devin that he gets to send home. I'm kind of shocked that he had to go along with him.
At this point in the game, here's the thing. It's too late in the game. Who are they going to bring in for him? The cast would have freaked out. But, of course, I feel like everyone watching did not want to see Devin go home like that.
No, and it sucks so much because now we want, not only were we supporting him from the beginning, now we are so more into his story and so more for rooting for him and seeing that kind of revival.
And they just got there and it's like, Cory, what are you doing, man? You're here for your daughter supposedly, and you know Devin's here for his dad. You guys could have made such an amazing duo just because of what you guys were fighting for in a way, you know? And
it's just so
let's just throw that all away.
And you know what really gets me about this is Tony and Cory hug after Cory and Devin are sent home.
Because I think they both knew it was BS.
And they say to each other, like,
it's pasta.
They say to each other, I have no bad blood for each other. And then I'm like, well, then why? Because at first I understood the fight because you hated each other, or maybe Tony is really pissing you off, Cory. So you have this feeling and this anger and you're in fight mode against him. But now that you're hugging and now that you're saying like, oh man, like, you know, I love you at the end of the day, then if you loved him, you shouldn't have.
Well, you know, you have like miscommunication with people. That was like almost like a physical communication between the two of them where like it should never have happened.
And pisses me off so much more. Like Bananas, not only can he not apologize, he just can't put it to rest. He has to laugh. As soon as they leave. He has to laugh too. As soon as Josh says, Johnny, will you just give it a rest? And then Johnny goes ape on Josh saying like, oh, Josh, look who's a big bad guy all of a sudden.
And here's what bothered me about what Bananas said there, and I know we're jumping on Bananas, but whatever. He says, oh, why don't you put you've had your balls in Sylvia's purse the whole time. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with Sylvia being the leader of a team just because she's a girl, Bananas? Like, am I jumping to some crazy conclusion there?
Dan, stand up. Like, I love it.
What's the problem with Sylvia running the team? She's good, and maybe Josh is just the muscle. Who cares?
I love that.
They're in the finals almost.
I love that you said that.
I wrote it down because I didn't understand what the big deal was. Okay, Bananas, great comeback because Sylvia carried the team. Okay.
Like your jokes about girls being inferior are getting a little bit old, Bananas.
Come on,
Can
man.
we move on to the next joke? I love that you brought that up because that almost, maybe I'm just used to Bananas doing that. I almost didn't even catch that because what pissed me off so much more was him even being mad at Joss in the first place because Joss on camera said he's lost his father.
How weird is that he laughed?
So why would you laugh? You're laughing at a guy who has to leave after you made fun of, insulted, whatever you want to call it, about his dead father. Now you're laughing in the face of another guy who's sympathetic towards his castmate with a dead father because his father also passed away.
And for anyone that's on Banana's side throughout this whole episode, Banana admits that he's wrong, by the way. He admits that he crossed the line.
But he won't admit it to the one person where it matters.
And I totally think that he should. But he admits that he's wrong. So for anyone's like, oh, you know, Devin deserved to go home, whatever. Okay. But Bananas admitted that he was wrong. He's just too much of a whatever. I don't insert word here.
Prideful,
to say that to Devin's face.
Yeah.
However, Cory, you deserve to go home. You can go home every day of the week. You're ridiculous. Cory, you blow every challenge somehow in just a different way.
Guys.
I can't. I'm over. I'm so over Cory.
True.
I'm so over him.
That's very true.
If I were, You are given so many opportunities in this life to win $1 million. You're like, I'm good.
God, he has 9 lives in the challenge. Like, when is it gonna be his? Like, Cory, you're so.
Go home and make some pasta, Cory. Enjoy it, my man.
Enjoy your fettuccine alfredo because we know how much you love it.
Jeez.
Okay.
Hey, there was a game tonight, actually. There was a challenge.
There sure was, and we have about 10 minutes left to hash through that challenge. It was a trivia challenge, so appreciate MTV and Beauty and Murray, the editors, for giving us the dark stuff, but then topping it off with a light, kind of funny trivia challenge. Let's get into that. I kept tallies on how many questions and answers I got right and wrong. I did pretty well. I cannot spell Armageddon, so I kind of understand where Ashley and Hunter are coming from.
And let's also remember, these guys are like, 30 feet in the air. I mean, everyone at home, it's so easy to answer when you're sitting on your couch, in your onesie, your PJs, whatever. But when you're up high, I mean, I've never done this before, but when you're up high on any, well, I guess I go to theme parks a lot. When I'm up at the top of a roller coaster, people were asking me questions on a ride that I've never been on, and I'm like kind of scared. It might be hard for me to spell Armageddon, by the way. So let's give them a little, and they still got it right.
And
eventually.
A lot of them are terrified. So you're right.
Yeah.
So breakdown. This is the challenge of the day. They're back at Shark Bay. Ooh, you don't want to fall into Shark Bay. Like, okay, MTV, you're not bringing them.
Stop trying to hype it up. Like,
you're
whatever.
not bringing them anywhere where there's any sort of sea animal that's gonna bite them. With your Shark Bay.
You're so right. If you looked in the water, you could see like scuba divers like patrolling the area, just like making sure. But there's nothing in that water.
They're like, here we are again at Shark Bay, where Jaws had his first bite of a human being ever.
In 1960, there was a possibility of a shark sighting here at Shark Bay, and never again since. Like, that's what it was. Like, come on.
So they're back to back on these panels, suspended 30 feet above water. And like Dan mentioned, how can you think straight sometimes? You see, Shane is terrified. Maria's terrified. Cara can't even stand up.
It was interesting. Bananas was like, wait, you want us to stand at the end of that and back to back?
Yeah.
Like, not just, if you could just stand there by yourself, that's one thing. They had to stand back to back. It was a balancing act, that whole game.
And
especially
if you're bigger,
for you nailed it. Bigger dudes are going to have a problem, as we saw with Johnny and with Tony.
Yeah, so then let's get into it. Joss and Sylvia and Tony and Bananas are the first targets. They're just getting X's across the board. Joss and Sylvia are the first one to get X'd off. I think it's because they're not as strong in the Lavender Ladies alliance. People maybe to take Shane and Ashley over them.
Yeah, so let's do the math. It was at that point, it was 3 versus 3. There was 3 Lavender Ladies teams, and then there was Johnny Bananas with Cara Maria, and then Natalie and Paulie. So that's it was 3 versus 3 going in. So, as long as you're getting all your questions right, you can keep bouncing the questions back and forth. And eventually, as we saw, it was like twos all the way down. But just to bring up the questions real quick, I like when they're random questions, like worldly questions, like just random trivia from around the world.
Me too.
This was all challenge related.
These were really layup questions.
And they were lame. And they were, you know what? And here's my Dan's conspiracy corner for the night. If you want to flash the lights, flash those darn lights. Yes. Dan's conspiracy corner. They purposely made these questions easy. You want to know why?
Why?
Because if they get them right, what do they get to do? Give an X to someone else, which does what? Stir up more drama. Oh my goodness, it's all about drama this season, and that's exactly why they did it. They didn't make the questions hard. They wanted them to get them right so they could let's find out who these real alliances are. Even though, as a viewer, did we already know the alliances?
Yeah.
Yes. There it is.
Yeah, I'm glad that they threw in some spelling answers and questions in there because that at least gets them going a little bit. But yeah, like you said, I love the worldly ones. I like
when we're like, what does RC stand for in RC Cola? And the answer is Royal Crown Cola. No one knows that.
And it's fun. It is fun. The answers were kind of layups, the questions, but I did like flashes to what's Jemmy's biggest phobia, ketchup.
And they showed her freaking out. I do like stuff like that. That was humorous.
But some were super easy. Like, I almost feel like it was unfair to Shane and Nelson. So this is the top 4 teams. It's Shane and Nelson, it's Cara and Marie, it's Paulie and Natalie, and it's Ashley and Hunter.
Yeah.
And Shane and Nelson get what was the elimination ring center called in Dirty 30. Shane wasn't on this season, and Nelson, you really think Nelson's gonna remember this shit? So They don't know. So it's the Presidio. Right. I forgot. Good on you if you remember.
And that's the thing. I think if you just watch these seasons, stuff like that you kind of forget about. You forget the name of the ring area, right? But if you're on the season and you're going there every week to watch people battle out there and you hear the word over and over again live in person, how do you forget that, Nelson? Come on, my man.
But that, I thought, in my opinion, was much harder, and then they fall out to that. So then it goes down to 3 teams: Cara Maria, Paulie, Natalie, Ashley, and Hunter, and then Cara Maria they get a really easy one. Whose suitcase was thrown over in Vendettas? Obviously, it was Kaylee. That was like the spark of the year.
And then Paulie and Natalie get who put pizzas on Brad's bed? I'm like, come on! You're looking right at. Not only was the question easy, but if you just look right across the way, Marie's right there. How did you like Marie's reaction to having to go up there? Marie and Cara's of having to be up there. They were ridiculous. They're so funny. Their facial reactions were great.
And I do love that it comes down to Ashley and Hunter as the spelling bee champs, who it looks like they are not going to get Armageddon right at all. And Ashley's like, it's A-M. Oh, no, it's A-R-M. Oh, no, it's this. And then it's Hunter that comes in. And I love when he's like, Armageddon. Can you put it in a sentence, please?
Right, you're saying that. Is that a noun or a verb, or what is that? Yeah, so that all happens, and it's ridiculous. I lost my train of thought.
But it comes around full circle. So this team that was the mosquito bite of the challenge, Paulie and Natalie, they're in the Redemption House the entire season, but they keep coming back. And then, how the turntables, shout out to The Office with that, how the turntables, Paulie and Natalie now win this challenge.
And
so it looks like the lab ladies are going down.
It's so dramatic. Sylvia starts crying.
I am a
Dan's
fan
Conspiracy
of Sylvia.
Corner. She is moving to LA in 6 months and trying to become an actress. I'm telling you, she is going for an award every night with this acting stuff.
Dude, I kind of like Sylvia, and
I don't hate her. I think she's fine.
I don't even know what I'd be doing in that house. That house is an incubator, and you are all sorts of crazy.
And that's the thing. It's like, how can you judge how somebody is feeling? Everyone reacts in different ways, and apparently, Natalie and Paulie, who haven't been in the game all year, coming back into the house makes Sylvia cry. And no one else cried, but that's how Sylvia reacted to it. Joss gave her like a long hug too. Like, it'll be okay. Like,
Conspiracy Corner, Paulie and Natalie have had a ton of time in that Redemption House where they've just been bored out of their minds, that they've been able to go over the only thing they know and just studying the challenge. And they just have made note cards of like,
they studied, yes.
They just studied challenge knowledge. Because Paulie, when he said, I've thought about coming back into this house every night before I go to sleep, I don't think he meant every night in the Redemption House. I think every night since he was a kid, he's thought about being on the challenge, because he loves being on this show.
He was probably a kid when the challenge started back in the day.
So Paulie and Natalie win. They're coming back.
This is funny. I got one really quick. Tori, they asked about Tori's boyfriend. Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe Jordan was sitting on that couch episode 1 this season.
He was.
And he kind of denied Tori being officially boyfriend-girlfriend with him. So what's that about, challenge? I think they got that. That's technically a technicality.
Fake news?
It's fake news. I don't know.
I don't know if it's fake news or if Jordan is just very much on that LA train where he's just very like gender fluid, and he's very, we're all dating. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all boyfriends and girlfriends in this life. Yeah. I feel like he's a very spiritual guy in that sense, where he's just like, I don't own her. We just happen to make out every now and then.
We hang out.
And I buy her flowers. Anyway, so let's get into predictions, I guess. So what do we think Paulie and Natalie are going to do with this double vote?
Right.
Where do we see this season going with 1 minute left on our show and 3 episodes left in the season?
Okay, so you have Natalie and Paulie who get the double vote for next episode. That's kind of where they leave it off. Just so much drama tonight. Okay, so Natalie and Paulie get to choose. So the 3 people. There's only 3 teams that they can choose. Yeah. So there's your first prediction that you can already just label off. You've got name the 3 from here. Help me name them.
Joss and Sylvia.
Okay, Joss and Sylvia.
Ashley and Hunter.
Ashley Hunter.
And who's the other lab ladies? Help us out.
Shane and Nelson. Shane Nelson. All right, Joss and Sylvia. Let's go Joss and Sylvia.
All right, Dan, please enlighten me as to why you've
It's a shot in the dark at this point. Each team has a 33% chance of getting the double vote. Now, we don't know if Paulie and Natalie are going to go over to Bananas and to go over to Cara Maria and say, hey, let's all, vote for the same people, because if they have the double vote, all right, it doesn't matter if the other 3 teams all team up to vote for one person, because since they have the double vote, they're going to win 4-2-3. Now, that's a good prediction for you. So guaranteed you're going to get Paulie and Natalie going up to Bananas and going up to Cara Maria's team, and they're going to say, hey, if we all just vote for the same people, right? Then they all go in. Now, that person's then going to get to choose between Bananas and between that, so they're gonna have to agree to that. That's the only issue is they get to choose their opponent supposedly.
They need the strength in numbers, so I get they need Cara, Maria.
Someone to agree with them.
They need Team Cara, Marie, and Tony on their side for this to work. I do think they can go Joss and Sylvia because Joss is as much of a threat as anybody in this game, and Bananas and I'm sure Tony are gonna want him out of the game.
Yep.
However, I'm not sure that they're gonna go Joss and Sylvia just because I don't think
of course,
that's.
Yeah. I just threw it in. I threw it out there. Yeah.
I don't think that's the head of this Lavender Ladies
So you're going
monster.
Shane. You're going Shane then.
I think they need to kind of take it from the top of the
Take
power
out the head
chain.
first. Okay.
Take out the head first, and I think Shane or even Ashley has more control over the Lavender Ladies
so you're
than
literally
Sylvia.
going anyone besides Joss and
No,
Sylvia.
because I could see them doing Joss and Sylvia just because everybody kept Xing them, and I feel like maybe that might be the scared game move to do, but I think Shane and Nelson is a big move that they can make because Shane kind of is the powerhouse. And Nelson has his foot in the alliance with Hunter and Joss. So everybody is all tied together. So they need to break it down from the top. Blow it up from the top.
Out of these three teams, Joss, Sylvia, Ashley, Hunter, Shane, Nelson, who do you think the strongest team that's left is? You think Shane Nelson? Yeah. You think Shane Nelson?
I think Shane Nelson.
Then they should go. Why don't they go Shane Nelson then? You know?
I think they're balanced because as strong as Ashley and Hunter are individually, the way they work together is going to always bite them in the butt.
Them spelling Armageddon tonight was the true definition of how they work together. So
they spelled
absurd.
it HateyoU. That's how you spell Armageddon.
I'm spelling that out.
It's I
love you. I was trying to make a joke, Jenna. Let me get the joke. All right.
And I also think Joss and Sylvia are strong. I'm not trying to call them a weaker team at all, but I think communication-wise, the way Shane and Nelson are working together, they have the yin and the yang, and they're kind of the team right now.
Yeah. They're very strong. Yeah, I mean I don't really have any more predictions after that. I mean, who's gonna? So then we still don't know who's gonna. There's gonna be more teams than a Redemption House. I think they're gonna like Pam said last week. We think that they're gonna add two more teams in there, and then from there it'll go down to 2 teams, and then the only one would make it back, and then you'll have your final 3 teams left.
So you have no strong predictions. You're kind of going in blind. You don't know if this is going to be a veterans game with Bananas, Cara, Maria team taking over it, or is it going to be a Lav Ladies, Young Bucks takeover going forward?
Okay, so I have to look at the other 3 teams with because Johnny and Tony are a strong team.
Johnny, Tony,
Marie and Cara, Marie, and then who's my third team on that side?
Paulie, Natalie.
I mean, I feel like each triplet, they're all have strong teams on both sides, and we should have because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Yeah, and then and also there's next week it's the Purge Challenge. Mm-hmm. So that means that someone's going right to the last place team goes immediately to the Redemption House. Is that correct?
Unless they blow up the Redemption House, which I just hope they drop.
Okay,
a big bomb
but wouldn't it be funny? They do show Paulie obviously have a big accident on that high-rise whatever he's trying to crawl across some rolling barrel thing. What if they get last place and then Paulie and Natalie go right back to the Redemption House? There's your prediction.
That would be the most just accurate, too easy. It's almost not even a prediction at that point because that's bound to happen. Tony, how are we doing on time? We're good. Okay, so I do want to touch on then any bold predictions about this Nelson-Natalie flirtation we see next week.
Oh, that's fun. See, that's great because we see it in the previews.
It's so great.
Well, I mean, after the show, Natalie said that she likes dating girls instead, right?
She's pansexual.
She's pansexual. So it's whoever, just how she... whatever she wants.
Whatever you got.
I think it's just going to be kind of a little fun fling thing. I don't think it's going to turn anything. Plus, we kind of know that Nelson's dating someone else now. So, because we talked about him after the show ended, we talked to Nelson about who he's dating. I can't talk. I didn't say who it was.
I think we both signed verbal NDAs not to share that with anybody. True. So way to go, Dan.
I didn't sign nothing, people.
Verbally. And Nelson watches our show, so sorry, bro.
I didn't say who it was. I said Nelson's dating someone. Oh,
true,
big shocker. Good looking guy like Nelson's dating someone.
I'm making it more than it is. But
of course you are, yes.
I think that this is way an overblown storyline because Kaylee...
They got nothing left on the show. They're just putting stuff together.
Kaylee is still in the Redemption House, and Nelson just literally put his ass on the line and tried to have Brad kiss it in Kaylee's honor. So I highly doubt that he's going behind Kaylee's back and trying to make something with Natalie. If anything, he's trying to do it to stick it to Bananas even more and get under Bananas' skin. But it's just funny that as soon as Natalie comes back in the house, then it's more about, like, how can we bring her flirtation into this season?
Yeah, let's have Bananas flirt with her for more FaceTime.
She just lives. She has
Angela who? Come on, Bananas. What was that, too?
I'm pretty sure Natalie has a girlfriend on this season. Like, I think she said that to somebody. So it's like, why are we always trying to make her seem like this challenge?
What sells this show? What sells the show?
I don't know.
D-R-A-M-A. Is that right, TJ? I love TJ's laugh, by the way, when he sees people fall. He's great. He's so into it.
Alrighty.
There we go.
I think that's it for tonight's episode.
I think so.
I think we got through it all. So hopefully you guys were joining along with us in the live chat, and make sure you leave your comments. I know you will. You always do.
Oh, yes, you will.
So make sure you let us know what you think about tonight's episode. And thank you so much for joining us again, episode 16 of the Challenge Final Reckoning. My name is Jenna Bussiere. Tweet at me. A lot of you haven't tweeted your gossip to me in a while.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm feeling a little lonely.
There it is.
So I'm at Jenna_Bussiere. Shout out Pam, shout out Justin, shout out David. Shout out everybody who didn't want to be here tonight for tonight's episode. But I got my man.
I'm here. The Dan Lindgren on Instagram. Daniel Lindgren signing out. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to Afterbuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.